So yesterday we have gone to SAP overview of an SAP system. It's not specific to SAP BW or SAP. So, and moreover, the advantage of working with SAP is the same look and feel would be available for you throughout the system. Either it may be SAP ECC system, SAP BW, CRM, SRM, whatever system you are logged into, or if you are specific to FI, PP, an ABAPer, a basis consultant, a technical consultant point of view, and a functional consultant point of view, the screens would the look and feel of the screens or the way they interact with screens would be same. And in SAP, we have two types of systems. One is called as the IDES and another one is called as the non-IDES. So using this IDES systems are used for training purposes. So SAP has given these systems. It's not that we have, it's like similar to ClickView. So for personal edition, it has given one thing, and the same thing you can use it for the official purposes also. But only thing is you need to have a license. So the same is applicable to SAP also, which means all of the functionality what would be getting as part of the organization's license. So the same functionality is available for the training system also. But the only difference is the data is missing. Data in the sense the in the real-time system we would be having millions of data stored in the SAP BW system. But in the case of SAP BW system, since we are using it for demo purposes, just to demonstrate, we would be having very limited data. Apart from that one, the structures, tables, all the standard ones which SAP would be giving to work with, okay, the transaction codes, all would be the same compared to the real-time system. Which means if you have good hands-on experience in a demo system or a training system, then you can 99% you can assume that you are working in the same real-time system. So there is no not even as 1.1% of the difference between the two systems. Okay, the same options would be there. Everything would be matching 100%. Okay, so that is IDS and non-IDS. And sorry, I think non-IDS is for training and IDS is for the real-time systems. For you not to have the access
I think IDS is for training.
IDS only, okay.
Yeah, it's called Internet Demonstration Evaluation System.
Evaluation. Let me log into one of the system, and they have created a logo, a picture. I think it is they have put like non-IDS. Yeah, welcome to IDS. Yeah, okay. IDS is for training, and the non-IDS is for the real-time requirements. Okay. Yeah. Yes. So I have logged into BI system, and so yesterday we have gone through a few of the T codes, like how to create a table, how to delete the data, how to enter the data into the table, and all the other stuff. And got a good navigation of what are the different options. So the system and help menu are the default menus available in each and every screen. And if you want to see the backend program using which the screen is built on, then you can go to system
status. Yeah.
Okay. Here you will be getting all of the details. And suddenly you want to see the time of the current system. Okay. Then you can go login status, and you can see the system time like this, 16:30. Okay, CED. Okay, so this way we can work with, and we have a transaction bar in order to enter the different transaction codes according to your requirements. Say for example, if you want to create a table, that S11. If you want to see the data, SC16. If you want to delete the data, SC14. Like this. So according to your requirement, lots of transaction codes will be provided to you. And So the transaction codes would be differing according to your functionality, according to your business area. So if you are into BI, there are a set of transaction codes which you would be interacting with daily. If you are from FI, the set of transaction codes would be differing because those were related to the finance kind of activities. With respect to SAP BI, we have one of the important transaction code called RSA1. RSA1. So this is the heart and soul of the data warehousing system. Which means most of the time, 95% of the time, we would be an SAP BI consultant would be spending his time in this particular screen only, because here is the place where we are going. So here is the place where we are going to model the things. So SAP BW or BI is broadly divided into three phases, right? Modeling, extraction, and reporting. So this modeling plus extraction activities are done in this particular area, or you in this data warehousing modeling, data warehousing workbench modeling, and this reporting we would be doing in the Business Explorer tool. So whenever you install SAP BW system in your client, okay, I mean SAP logon pad, then there would be option to checkbox option would be there to install the reporting tools plus SAP GUI. Then once you install SAP logon pad into your system, then what happens is, in the start button, so the logon pad would be available here, and here you can add your system. So this was some old kind of 710 logon pad. That is the reason the screen is bit different. Okay, whereas this is my 720 logon pad, which is the latest version. So that is the reason the GUI is bit different. Only the GUI, the look and feel is different. The internal functionality is one and the same. Okay, so if I want to create a new item, change item, delete item. So here same, if you want to add a new item, click on new item and give the options like application server, system number, and the system ID. Once you are done with one, then you can click on the finish and you can log into the system. And after you install the SAP GUI, then automatically in the start button, all programs, you would be also getting installed with the Business Explorer reporting tool. So this contains the various tools in order to create the reports. Out of these four, we would be mostly working with the analyzer and the query designer. Query designer is used to define the queries or reports, define the structure, how the structure should look like. Okay, what are the, okay, for example, if we go back to our star schema, we have lot of dimensions connected to the fact tables. So in that particular dimensions, we would be having lot of fields, right? Customer ID, customer name, customer address, product ID, product name, product ID, product name, product type, product color, all this stuff. With respect to time dimension, we have calendar day, calendar month, calendar week, calendar year. With respect to sales representative dimension, we have sales representative ID, salesperson name, and all the other stuff. So these are considered as the characteristics. Okay, so the table fields are considered as the characteristics. So what characteristics you want to include in the report? So you can design your report in that way. So I want to view the report from customer point of view, calendar year point of view, from product point of view. I am not touching here the key figures or the facts remains same, but the only thing is these characteristic values or the dimension values are getting changed. So in this way, we have lots of dimension tables, and each and every dimension table will have lots of characteristics. So what characteristic to be included in the report would be decided in the query designer, which means we are designing the query like that. So we would be asking the end user, boss, from which point of view you want to view the data. Then he would be giving us a list of options. Yes, customer number, product number, calendar year, calendar month. Okay, and the key figures remain the same, the quantity and the revenue. Once we get the list, we would be creating our report only with these options. Even though we have 100 characteristics or 100 fields in our system, we would be working with only these four systems, only these four fields. So we would be designing the query in such a way that whenever he runs the report, he would be getting these four options. So on the fly, he can compare the report. He can take the decision. Okay, from product point of view, what is the revenue? What is the revenue? From customer point of view, what is the revenue? From calendar year point of view, what is the total sales, total revenue? From sales representative point of view, what is the total sales? Okay, like this we can create the report. And in order to see the data, we would be using the analyzer. So whenever you install the SAP GUI or SAP Logon Pair or SAP Client, then you should ensure that once your installation is done, go to Start button, All Programs, and we would be getting the SAP front end option over here. Okay, this option is available. Logon Pair. So what I have done is I have just created a shortcut for this option. I have created a shortcut for this option. So right click, create a shortcut, send it to desktop, create shortcut. Okay, and at the same time I would be getting this Business Explorer tool also. Business Explorer. So according to our requirement, we would be analyzing these applications. So in this way, this RSA1 transaction code is used for doing the ETL activities in the shortcuts. And this Business Explorer tool is used to do the reporting activities. So this is considered as the the title of the RSA1 screen is Data Warehousing Workbench Modeling. So here we would be creating different BW objects in order to access the data from the source systems and put the data and create a report, store the data especially. And so let's start with the option called one by one. So once we enter the transaction code, then we would be getting the header line like Data Warehousing Workbench Modeling, and in that there are different options. The modeling area, if you click on this one, then it is called as the administration area, and followed by the transport connection, documents, BI content, translation, metadata repository, which means each and every, so the whole screen is divided in terms of the containers or the different tabs. So according to the option you are checking, then the objects in this white screen would be changing. Then the objects in the white screen would be changing. Out of these tabs, modeling, administration, all the other stuff, the important option is the modeling tab, because here are where we are going to create all our BW objects according to the client requirements and according to the reporting requirements and storing the data. So this administration, if you go back to our picture, so this is this administration I was talking about. So this administration workbench, all the scheduling activities.
Okay, so that is more for the basis people, right?
No, Srini. No. Here the administration is like a loading of this. So we would be running lots of data loads would be happening on a day-to-day basis from the different source system to the BW system, right? So those running activities, those back-end running jobs, we can administrate from here.
Okay.
Okay. And with respect to this transport connection, I already told you, right? We have different systems available in the SAP system. So consider this as a development system, and we have a quality system, we have a production system. And whatever the objects we have developed over here, we would be moving these objects to another system or another quality system. Then we will be taking the help of this transport connection. So we have a different set of transaction codes, in order to move these objects from one system to another. So this option would be helping to achieve those things. And with respect to BI content and metadata repository, I'll get back to you at a later point of time. For initial thing,
Okay. Vinay, question.
Okay.
On the status bar, I'm seeing the BI 7 and 1. I think one is like the session number.
Okay, it's a client
And then,
number. Okay.
I mean client number 001 is the client number, right?
Okay. Yes.
And
Yes.
then what is the INS over there?
INS. Where I'm not seeing Srini.
Okay, next on the status bar.
Acha, INS.
The last,
Okay.
the
Let me
BI
show.
server and INS. Okay.
Yeah, I'll show with an example, Srini. So it's like a simple option given, Srini. For example, there are lot of objects in this particular screen, right? You want to find out with a particular object, for example. So you're typing something, okay? So some Z Vinay, for example. Okay, unfortunately, you are okay. You typed something, and you want to edit it and type it again some other name. You have given some wrong name. Okay, VINUY, for example, something. Then let us see what is happening with I change with the options. So this, okay. So when this INS stands for insert. So whatever you are typing, it is inserting into the things.
Oh, okay. So it's like when you turn off the insert key and turn on the insert key, right?
Yes, and another one is called as the override key.
Yeah, OVR.
Click
Okay.
on OVR. Okay, then go and find out, and you want Z Vinay, and you want to insert something in the middle. Then see what's happening if you try to insert something. Then Srini. It is overwriting the existing things,
Okay.
so if I'm going with option called insert, then see the difference.
Okay. So you can insert it.
But if I want to insert, then I happily insert. So no overwriting is there.
Okay, gotcha.
So that is the insert, and so by default it is the insert option, and everybody would be using this option only because it would be very helpful. Because with respect to overwriting, what is happening is something you want to typing again, it is overwriting the things.
Yeah. That is the same concept in the Microsoft Office, right? If you turn off the insert, then
Yes, the same option you can have in your keyboard also. Insert.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
same,
Okay.
similar to same. Okay, so out of these many options, we would be focusing on the modeling part in major way. Okay, so in modeling part, we have different options over here, like info provider, info objects, info sources, data sources, source systems, open up destination. So using these different objects, we do the modeling plus extraction in SAP BW system. So let's start with an option called source systems. So source systems. So every data warehousing should have a source system, right? In order to read the data from and put into our SAP BW. So an SAP system can connect with these different types of source systems. So this functionality, the only thing is right click, create the connection and give the whatever the server details you have with that particular source system. So this is done by the basis people. This establishing the connections between the different systems and ensuring that everything is fine, okay, and ensuring that it is able to read the data from the source system. All these stuff are taken care by the basis people. So as a BW consultant, we need to know what different kinds of source systems our SAP BW system is capable of interacting with. Okay, so the first option is the BI system itself. So we can read from any other BI system, SAP BI system. And if you want to read from any SAP system, which is nothing but our SAP ECC, SAP CRM, SRM, then you can go and create a connection with this one. And if you want to read from any other external system like partners, okay, which means a BO system or a BODS, Business Object Data Services, then you can use this external option in order to create a connection to the system. And if you want to read from a flat file, which I consider as a .csv file, comma separated value file, or a .txt file, then you can use this file interface. So this is similar to our picture. The down one, the SAP applications and non-SAP applications, and we are using different interfaces in order to get the connection, right? So those interfaces are available here in the GUI format. So it's not that you will be writing a big code to interact with the system. The backend we are having the code. Here it is like it's like creating a Gmail account, just connecting to
it's like mapping, right? It's like mapping.
Yes, Srini. So we can literally have the connection between the file system and which means you are able to access the files if you have a connection like this. And DB Connect is used to connect to any database.
Okay.
Okay, and these two are the very rarely used options. So out of these, UD Connect and the web service, out of these different source systems, the main source systems which we would be working on a regular basis are a BI system, SAP system, and if you have a BODS system in an organization, and if you want to read the data from the BODS and put into BW, then you are going with this option, and the file. So if you want to read from database, then you can go with this option. This web service and UD Connect are the very rarely used options. But keep in mind that you can literally connect to these different source systems and read the data, combine the data, transform the data according to your reporting requirement, and store the data into the SAP BW system. So in our training courses, first we would be interacting with the file system. So we would be assuming that we have a business and we would be storing our files we would be storing our data in Excel sheets. Then we are loading those Excel sheets into BW system and we will be doing the reporting. So once we are done with this one, we will be done with 70% of our course completion. So with respect to flat files, the advantage is we would be creating all our things from A to Z. So there are no predefined ones. But with respect to SAP system, since SAP BW is a product of the SAP and SAP ECC is a product of SAP, they have created a lot of stuff ready-madely, which is considered as the BI content, business intelligence content, which means it's like buying the things ready-madely. All the things are available according to your requirement. Go install them and use them. That's it. There is no question mark of creating the things.
And that is one of the advantages of the SAP.
The implementation time would be very less because
compared
whatever
to the other
kind of reporting activities would be there, all are ready-madely available with BW.
Okay.
And if that is not the case, if that is not satisfying your requirement, then you can create your own things. So that is called as the customization, custom creation. Okay, but with respect to SAP, with respect to file interface, we need to create all the things from our scratch so that we get to know each and every different option. And the info provider. So info provider is the place where we are going to store the data finally. Let us go back to our picture. So these are the places where we are going to store the data, right? The PSA, the ODS, and the InfoQ. The PSA is the first layer where we are going to store the data. The second layer is the ODS or DSO. In the third place is considered as the InfoQ. Okay, so the same can be seen in this picture. So right click on this one, and here you can see the different info providers. So here click on the option called info provider and info objects. See some of the things are changing over here. All the things are changing according to the requirement, whatever you are clicking. So source systems, we can have this many connections. And with respect to info provider, right click. So these are the info providers available in SAP BW system. So whenever I'm referring to info providers, information providers are where we are going to store the data in SAP BW system. And out of these, so we have info providers like InfoCube, in DSO, data store object, multi-provider, virtual provider, InfoSet, and insert characteristic as info provider or master data info object. So these are the different info providers we would be having in SAP BW system. And out of these things, the InfoCube, data store object, and insert characteristic as info provider would be physically storing the data. And this multi-provider, virtual provider, and InfoSet are virtually storing the data, which means they actually doesn't store the data. In the runtime, they would picking up the data and showing in the report. Whereas in the case of these three, InfoCube, DSO, and master info object, we would be physically storing the data in the respective tables.
What is the third one?
What third one is in this one?
No, the first one is InfoCube, the second one is data store DSO, and the third one is?
Where we are going to store the physical data you are talking about?
Yeah, you said physical, physical
Yeah.
data.
Insert characteristic as info provider, this option.
Okay, okay.
Or otherwise, this is also called as the master data info object.
Okay, master data info
Same.
object.
The same word if you want to use, then you can use as a word called master data info object.
Master data, okay.
Okay, so these are different options. And yesterday we have gone through one of the screen, like whenever we create something, whenever we create something in SAP system, we need to follow the same. We need to follow three activities. So the save, check, and activity. Currently, activate. Sorry. So currently it is in the display mode. It is in the display mode. That is the reason I am getting these options blurred. Save, check, and activity. Because it is in display mode only. You are not allowed to interact with these objects. And if you want to switch from the display mode to the change mode, you can use this option, pencil. And this glasses or spectacles stands for the display. And this pencil stands for the change mode. Okay. So currently you are in the display mode. And if you want to go to the change mode, just click on this option. See, automatically the save button, check, and activate buttons are highlighted. Which means if you change something, then automatically you can check and activate it. And if you want to again switch to the display mode, then you can go and click on this again. Now it is display mode. That is the reason it is getting slow. So if you click on the activate, then automatically you are doing the three activities. So with respect to each and every object that is created in SAP world, we should do this. We should perform this activity. It can be creating a table. It can be creating a SAP BW object or any other. You should definitely perform this activity. And this option is used to go to the previous object. Okay, and this is to the back one. And if you want to hide the screen, okay, your screen is now partly divided into 4 areas, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So according to the objects you are selecting, the screen is dividing automatically. So in order to hide the screen, then you can go with this option and highlight only the necessary part. Then you can highlight the screen. And if you don't want, then you can again click on the screen. Okay, and this is the tree display, hide display. This one it is hiding only this part. Whereas if you click on this one, it is hiding all of the things and showing you only the major part which you are now focusing on. Okay, and this is like an overview list. Okay, so currently what object are you opening on? Okay, go back to the RSA1 screen again. Yeah. And click on the object. See, according to the requirement, the objects are getting changed over here. And currently you are opening an info object called interior country. If you want to combine another, if you want to open any other thing, then you can just copy over here. Otherwise, you can double click, or you can copy over here and open your info object, any other thing. Automatically, it would be jumping. So, and this check is used to, because this is a display mode, you are only getting the check. Otherwise, go to change mode, you are getting the activate symbol also. Or if you want to create anything, then you can create like this. So the same options. So the create info object is available over here and here also. One is with a graphical user base, or with one is with an icon, and another one is with a manual option. So whatever you click on, see, create characteristic. Okay, and if you do, we can do the same from here also. Create characteristic. Okay, so in this way we can work with SAP BW system. So let's be more specific to what is first of all, we would be starting our topic with the info objects. So today also we would be covering the theory part. So hope from tomorrow you would be getting access to the system. From that time
Yeah,
onwards,
actually, Vinay, tomorrow I have something at the same time going on.
okay, okay, Srini.
Either we have to put up the class tomorrow or maybe find alternative time. But since tomorrow is Friday, so for this time, let's not have tomorrow.
Okay.
And we can have it Sunday again, just as it is.
Sunday again. Okay, Srini, no
Yeah,
problem.
but by then, hopefully I'll get the system access. I'll try to practice some on Saturday.
Okay. And moreover, one more thing, Srini, if you have any plans of taking vacation or no, just inform me earlier.
Okay.
Okay. And if I have the same, then I would be informing you.
Yeah. I don't have, this is, yeah, I don't have any plans as of next 2 weeks. So,
Okay. Okay. That's the
I
case.
should be available. Just the Fridays, alternative Fridays, I have another appointment. So.
Acha. Okay. Okay, no problem. Srini. Just the only thing is just inform me earlier. Then
Yeah,
I would be making the things. Okay. So tomorrow you don't want class, and day after tomorrow you want the class, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, tomorrow I don't want the class, and then Saturday you said we don't have it, right? Normally.
Yeah, yes, Srini. So initially, okay, for these 2 to 3 days, just go ahead with whatever the things we have focused on. So from Monday, my
No, but
morning,
you said usually regularly we had class on Sunday, and then all 5 days. But last Saturday we didn't have class.
yes, Srini. So normally what happens is, it according to the students' convenient, I would be taking, Srini. So some people would be coming and telling me that, boss, I want to complete it in 15 to 20 days. That's it.
Right.
I don't want to sit with you for whole 1 month and taking 1.5 hour class per day. No, just complete. Go ahead with the 3 to 4 hours per day and complete the things as early as possible. Then what I would be doing, I would be spending some extra time on Saturdays and Sundays too. So according to the requirement. So if you are in such hurry, then we can go ahead. Otherwise, we can go slowly, studying each and every option.
Okay. Yeah, for this weekend, we are not having tomorrow and Saturday, but we start on Sunday night again.
Sunday night, which is equal to Monday morning in India, right?
Yeah, for you Monday morning, and then it will continue.
Yeah.
But next weekend we will have Saturday and Sunday also.
Okay, sure, Srini, no problem. So moreover, by that time you would be getting familiar with the system also. So
yeah,
it would be easy for you to understand. Yeah. Okay.
Excuse me.
Okay. Let's start with an option called info objects. The importance of these info objects and all the stuff. So what is an info object is in SAP BW is, info object is like a field. For example, I have a employee table in the source, or in the source in the sense it can be SAP ECC system, a database, or an Excel sheet. For example, take the consideration of an Excel sheet. So in the Excel sheet, I have the details of employee stored. So first field is the first column is called as the employee ID, second column employee name, third column employee department, fourth column employee salary. So now I want to do some reporting on that particular field, on that particular file. What I should do as the first thing in SAP BW is I should go through the flat file first. Yes. What is so when one of the manager came to me and told me that, boss, you belong to SAP BW system, right? Or technical consultant, right? So we have one of the reporting requirements. Then we would be holding a meeting with those people, managerial people, and our SAP BW system would be holding a meeting. So in that meeting, they would be coming with their inputs. Boss, this is where we are going to store the data, and we have few of the reporting requirements. So they would be suggesting us what they want to do, what they want to see in the report. Then we would be, after the end of the meeting, then after a couple of days we would be again holding a meeting. So in the meanwhile, what we are going to do is we are analyzing the things. Okay, whatever the end users have asked, it can be done in the SAP BW system. Then if you come to a conclusion that yes, out of the 10 requirements they have given, 8 requirements we can easily done, and 2 requirements we need to have some thorough background work to be done. Out of the 10, 8 we can done because we have the enough knowledge or enough options available in SAP BW system. But with respect to the 2 requirements, those are a bit complicated. So what we would be promising them is, okay, boss, out of your 10 requirements, 90%, which means 8 reports, we would be 80%, which means 8 reports we would be generating with no time frame, which means is equal to 1 or 2 days we can generate and give it to you. But with respect to other 2 reports, we would be getting back to you with the required requirements. So in this way we agree with the thing. Later on, once we are done with the agreement, then what we would be doing is we would be analyzing the file data. Okay, this contains the employee details, the employee name, employee ID, employee name, employee department, employee salary, which means the file contains 4 columns. Okay, so in SAP BW terminology, those 4 columns we need to define in SAP BW also, because we need to access the table data, right? So how many columns are there, how many fields are there, then we need to have those many fields in our SAP BW system also. In SAP BW terminology, those fields are called as info objects. Okay, info objects. So info objects are nothing but similar to columns in a table or fields in a Excel sheet. And in SAP BW, these info objects are broadly divided into 5. 5 types of info objects are available in SAP BW. One is called as the characteristic info object. One is called as the key figures, time characteristics, unit characteristics, and technical characteristics. Please make a note of these words.
Okay, can you go over them again, 5 of them?
Yeah. First is called as the characteristic info object.
Okay.
Key figure info object, time characteristics, unit characteristics, and technical characteristics. Okay, so what is a characteristic info object is, let's go back to the star schema picture. The product dimension was there, customer dimension was there, time dimension was there, and in the center there was a fact table connected to these three different dimension tables. So the time dimension ID was stored, the product ID was stored as the primary key, and the customer ID was stored as the primary key to the fact table. So in the dimension table we have other fields also, right? For example, take the customer table, then customer ID, customer name, customer and all other stuff, customer address, customer phone number. So here each and every value or each and every field of the particular table is considered as an info object. And if it is giving some information, it's kind of a noun, okay, then that is considered as a characteristic info object. Basing on which we want to take the decision, then that is considered as a characteristic info object, which means customer ID, okay, it is uniquely identifying the customer. Customer name, yes, that's the name of the customer. Customer address, customer phone number, okay. So these are considered as the characteristic info objects. And when I talk about the key figures or the facts or the KPIs or the decision makers, then the quantity and revenue, right, the transaction data. So those kind of fields are considered as the key figures, which means on top of which we are going to make the decisions. So all the time what I am focusing on, I want to see the revenue of based on some country. Okay, here the country field is called as the characteristic and the revenue field is considered as the key figure. So always all the key figures would be either of the two. It would be representing some kind of quantities or the currencies. Okay, revenue in the sense what is the total amount, right? So amount or currencies, amount and the quantities are considered as the key figures, on top of which we are going to make a decision. Okay, so calendar year wise sales, then this calendar year is nothing but my characteristic info object, and
Sales.
This revenue is nothing but a KF stands for key figure.
If you, okay.
In this way, so if I go back to my respective employee table, then employee ID is a characteristic info object. Employee name is a characteristic info object. Employee department is again a characteristic info object. But employee salary, it is representing some kind of revenue, right? So that employee salary is considered as the key figure. And with respect to SAP, every key figure should be followed by the unit. Which means if it is belongs to some kind of amount, then it should be followed by the unit. So you are storing information like Vinay, 101 Vinay, department name SAP BI, and a salary 10,000 rupees. Then what is this 10,000 referring to? So that is considered as the unit, whether it is referring to INR, USD, GBP, AUD, what is that referring to? So we should have an extra column over here, stating the type of the value or unit of the value. If it is belongs to the amount, and if it is belongs to the quantity, then 100 quantity is there. Let me show you this one. Then 100 quantity is there, but what is this 100 quantity? 32, 16, 32, this quantity is there. What is this 32 referring to? Is it each, pack, case? So what is it? So we need to define this as a unit. So these are considered as the unit characteristics. So unit characteristics can be two. One belonging to the quantity kind of activities, or one is belonging to the revenue or the currency keys. So in other terminology, The quantity value kind of activities would be referring to as the unit values. What kind of unit that quantity referring to, and revenue or the currency kind of activities are referred to as the currency keys. So what currency key you are referring to? So this is about the unit characteristics. So we have covered the characteristic info objects, the key figures, the unit characteristics. So the time characteristics you can easily understand. What is that referring to? Is that referring to calendar year, calendar month, calendar quarter, week, or what? So these kind of calendar kind of activities are referred to as the time characteristics. And when it comes to technical characteristics, then these are used by the system. These are not created by the end user. These are used automatically created by the SAP system in order to store some technical information related to the objects. For example, you have created some object in SAP BW. Then yesterday if you go back our table, if you go back, let us go back to S11. Go to what the table we have created yesterday, Z employee details, right? Okay. Go to display mode. Acha, yesterday we have deleted the table, right? So
Yeah, we did.
okay. Let us. Okay. Acha, have we deleted or we have
Maybe try
deleted
the
employee
details
one?
one. Yeah.
Okay, it does not exist. Okay, employee one we have deleted. Employee tables exists. No problem. Okay. Go to display mode. Does not exist in the database, but it is still coming. No problem. Okay. So in the attributes tab, you have created the table yesterday, right? So it is creating few of the to store the internal data. Who has created the table and when, and where is he storing? In what language has he created the table? Which means these are nothing but the basic information related to the table, right? The system is automatically creating in order to store the metadata. So this kind of information is called as the metadata, which means who created the table, when, and with using what language. So this is about the creation of the table. So same is the case with our SAP BW objects also. So whenever you create something, whenever you change something, the SAP would be holding that information in separate objects. So that kind of objects are referred to as the technical characteristics, which means in SAP terminology, the info objects are the foundation. They are like the bricks in order to construct a house. So info objects are used one by one, okay, according to the requirement, and construct a data warehouse system. So these are the basic versions. So out of these info objects, we have 5 types of info objects: characteristic info objects, key figures, time characteristics, unit characteristics, and the technical characteristics. So characteristic info objects are defined the business terms. So customer name, customer address, product ID, product name, product type, product color, sales representative ID, country, sold to, company code, okay, ship to.
Yeah, so those are more like qualitative, and quantitative, right?
Qualitative,
So,
where the business data is defined.
right. The key figures are mostly quantitative. You can quantify
Quantity and
them.
revenue kind of things. Quantity and
Right.
amount.
Well, revenue is sort of a quantity, right? I mean, it's a number. But
Revenue is also a number, but the only thing is, so normally we would be considering key figures when we would be going with the option amount or quantity. So amount, which
yeah,
means a currency kind of
and
activities.
it can be expressed in some kind of unit, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So that units, we need to have the unit characteristics. And
Unit
with respect to
yes.
time, then all the time characteristics like 0 calendar day, calendar month, and all the other stuff are coming in time characteristics.
Okay.
With respect to technical characteristics, we are not going to create, and we are least bothered about that one, because
Yeah, that
they are created by
SAP
the
will
SAP.
handle, right?
Yeah, what's really?
SAP will handle them internally whenever
Internally
you
in order to
create.
store the metadata kind of information.
Okay.
So we are not going to create any technical characteristic, and we are not going to, even though it is existing, we are not going to touch it. For internal purposes, the SAP would be creating these things. Okay, so that's it. That is how a That is the importance of these info objects. So these info providers are similar to tables, Rini. Okay.
Okay.
So using these info objects, I need to construct this info provider. In the case of creating a table, what you would be doing? You would be writing a syntax called create table, table name, flower star followed by the brackets, and uh, employee ID, char 20, primary key, comma, employee name, char 20, employee salary, employee department, something, employee, like this you are executing the report, right? You are creating a table. But in the case of SAP BW, which means in the runtime you are constructing you are runtime in the runtime you are constructing the table as well as the columns for the table. But in the case of SAP BW, first of all you need to define the fields. First of all, you need to get ready with the fields, and later on, using these fields, you can construct the table. In the case of SQL, what is happening? All are happening in the runtime. You are getting the table name created as well as the respective fields created. But in the case of SAP BW, first of all, you need to define the fields that are called as the info objects in SAP BW, and later on, using those particular fields, you need to construct the table. Because the advantage of doing like this is, I can reuse these objects. I can reuse these objects. For example, I have defined the info objects like this. So using these fields, I can construct multiple tables. Whereas in the case of databases, in the case of SQL, what was happening was, for each and every time you are creating a table, you are creating the fields again and again, right? So create table name followed by the different set of fields you want to include, and click on the execute button. So the table fields are getting created and the table is getting created with the respective fields. But in the case of SAP BW, so first of all, when I got this requirement, what I will do, I will first analyze the fields. Okay, the employee ID is getting stored data in terms of numbers and the characteristics. Then I would be using the data type called as char. Okay, and the long description as the sum, as a long description as the sum 20 length. Okay, so in that way, first of all, I would be analyzing the fields. Okay, I have 4 fields, which means I need to create 4 info objects in SAP BW system. Okay, out of these 4 fields, this employee ID is there. Okay, it is defining the employee ID, which means it is considered as a characteristic info object. And employee name, yes, it is also defining something about the employee, then it is a characteristic info object. Employee department name, yes, something noun, then characteristic info object. Employee date of joining, okay, date of joining, it's a date, so I should consider it as a time characteristic, not the characteristic info object. I would be considering it as a time characteristic because it's a date kind of format. Yes, okay, which means I would be creating this info object with the date as a data type. And employee salary, okay, on top of this only, right, I am going to create report on. So my reporting requirement is which employees. So I have around 50,000 employees, and I want to find out the top 5 employees by department wise who are getting the highest salary. Top 5 employees. So department 1, the top 5 employees based on their salary. As department 2, employee details based on the salary. Okay, this is my reporting requirement. So this was the table content. So this salary I am considering it as a key figure. Now when I am done with my requirement, with collection of this fields information, I need to go to the BW system and first of all create the respective objects. Create the respective objects, info objects or fields or the columns values. Once I am done with these things, then basing on these fields, I can create multiple tables according to the requirement, and start doing the reporting. So from Monday's class, Monday morning class, we will be starting the practical sessions of how to analyze the requirement. So I would be I would be giving you considering a requirement which we have developed as part of our thing. So I would be uh, giving you an overview of how we have interacted with the respective manager in order to get the details, and how we have prepared. Before developing the things, we need to do a background work, right? We need to create the technical specification, we need to get the functional specification, and whether it is adhering to the requirements. So we would be studying all these things and concluding a report, and preparing a technical specification wherein we would be giving the details like what kind of objects we need to create, what should be their data types, what would be the length, and what would be the technical name especially. So yesterday when we created the SAP table, then we have used a name, right? ZEMP underscore details. That is something what the name of the table. So same is the case with our SAP BW objects also. Each and every BW object should have a unique technical name in order to identify it uniquely. If you try to create any other name with the same, any other object with the same name, then the system responds with an error message saying that an object with the name exists, so please create another one. So in SAP BW or in SAP, every object is uniquely identified by its name, by its technical name exclusively. See, there is a reason. Each and every object would have a technical name. So this is the button. So this is the info object description, and this is the technical name. And observe that each and every name is starting with Z, which means we can easily conclude that it is a user-defined info object or or custom-defined info object. But if it is starting with any other word, then we can easily conclude that yes, it is a system-defined one. So that is the naming convention which SAP follows. So SAP tells us that A to X, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, Y till X, okay, are SAP proprietary things. Are SAP proprietary things, and if a user wants to create a new object, then he should use either Y or Z as the starting letter in order to ensure that that is a customer defined object, in order to uniquely identify very easily. Okay, A to X are considered as the SAP defined objects, and Y or Z are considered as the custom defined objects with respect to SAP ECC. But with respect to SAP BW, any object starting with 0, okay, so 0 are considered as the SAP defined objects, and using any other letter are considered as the custom defined or user defined objects. But most of the organizations would be implementing that ECC logic only over here, which means whenever you develop an object, then we would be using it's starting with Z, because we can easily identify that yes, whenever I come across a word called Z in front of the object, then that is 100% a custom defined object, not the SAP defined ones. And if you want to say, for example, let us go through one of the SAP defined one. So zero material.
So you can only have 0 or Z or letter Z, right?
So whenever we are coming across 0, that is a SAP defined, and Z, other things also we can maintain, no problem. But the only thing is, it would be a bit of kind of confusion, because with respect to SAP ECC, SAP ECC, those are the naming conventions. Let us log into SAP ECC system.
So in the SAP ECC, the system defined, they can use anywhere from A to X, and they're already defined by SAP.
Yes. Whenever you come across those things, for example,
right,
go to
anything with a Z is always a user defined, right?
Yes, Y or Z.
Yeah, Y or Z, but in the BW, it's only Z.
It's only Z. Yes.
And if it's a 0, then it's a system defined.
Okay, okay. So yesterday we have tried to create a table, right? We create a table. And today we try to create a table like ASDF, for example, and click on the create button. See, it is asking you that, it is telling you that you need to have some kind of keys. Acha, okay. I think in the BA7 also it was showing the same kind, right? Access key. That's the reason we have logged into SC11. This is the BA system, and ASDF, for example, create. Okay, and let us start with creating another thing, ZASDF.
Okay.
Yes, see the difference.
Yeah.
Okay, when you're starting with Z, which means a user defined object, then it is allowing you to create a table. But in the case
Right.
of when you try to give the name starting with A, then it is asking you are not so normally in systems it would be giving you a message like, the objects A to X are exclusively for SAP defined objects. You can create with the Y or Z. Okay, create, cancel, okay. Okay, so which means that is the naming convention followed in the SAP in order to uniquely identify the customer objects and the SAP defined objects. With respect to SAP BW, all the customer objects are, so they are not starting with A, B, C, D like that. No, we would be having exactly two types of objects, one starting with 0 and one starting with Z. One starting with 0 means it is a standard SAP defined object. One starting with Z means those are the customer defined objects according to his own requirement. Okay, so now go to our transaction code RS7, go to find button, go to 0 star, go to 0 star, and click on button called info provider. So then what it would be doing is it would be giving you a list of info providers available in the SAP system. In this current system starting with the 0, it would be, so this info provider nothing but these are the info providers options which you have seen earlier in the menu of the info provider. So now the system is searching with all the objects starting with 0, which means these are nothing but the FI related activities, FI related info cubes, material related, service related. Okay, so in this way we can differentiate between the SAP defined and the user defined. So any questions, Srini?
If you go click on the info provider in the menu,
Okay.
yeah, over there. So the list we are seeing here in the gray, and you have the the tree, right?
Yes, Srini.
So each of these, the ones like say I'm starting with the unassigned nodes and technical content.
Okay.
So are all those names of the info providers?
No, Srini. So we need to follow one kind of a tree kind of structure. So which you would be letting know when we start the practicals.
Okay, but in the header it says info provider, and then the next name is tech name, right?
Okay.
Info provider tech name. So everything under info provider is it some type of
So
info
yes,
provider?
is a kind of info provider with an exception of this green button called info area.
Info area.
Okay, for example this is considered the info area, and underneath
Okay.
in the info area we are going to store the different info providers.
Okay. So except the info area, what is like? I'm seeing, for example, I'm seeing SAP training
Okay,
one.
yeah.
Is that an info provider, or is just a
No, Srini.
name and you
uh,
have?
okay, I'll tell you. Thing is, whenever you create something in SAP BW, we need to create in a folder in
So
order to
that's like a
uniquely
folder. Okay.
in order to uniquely identify your products, your developments, or
Okay.
or in other ways, I would be storing the different information in my SAP BW system, right? Some the FI information, SD information, information. So how come I uniquely identify where I am storing the data into? All of a sudden I got a requirement that okay, I need to work on with FI. So it's not that I can store the data anywhere. So in the real time system, what we would be doing is we would be defining an info area with the name FI, finance data warehousing, sales data warehousing, materials management data warehousing, flat file data warehousing, so that we can directly jump into the respective folder in order to identify things. So that folder name in SAP BW terminology is called as the info area. So
Okay.
info areas are used to organize info providers.
Okay.
That is the reason. See, this is my next class people. Okay, Siva Prasad. Okay, so what I have done was I have created an info area by his name. So what I would be doing, whatever the objects I am developing as part of his training, I would be storing those objects over here. So
Okay.
when I start the classes for you, okay, the practical sessions, what I would be doing, I would be creating another info area under your name. So create info area Z Srinivas. So Srinivas info area. Okay, so click on OK. Then see your name at come over here, which means so underneath these things we are getting all the info providers.
Okay.
Okay, so info area and the advantage of working with SAP BW is since it is a GUI tool, every object which will have its unique look and feel. So this is the symbol of the info area. This is the symbol of the info queue. This is the symbol of the master data info object. Okay, and this is the symbol of the DSO. This is the symbol of the DSO.
Okay.
So that
So,
it would be very easy for us to identify which object I'll be working with. Okay, but
okay.
initially it would be some problem for you, but later on once you get interacting with the system, then you can play with the system like anything, no problem.
Okay. So these are like folders, within which you can store different
Yes. For example,
info providers, and
one of the requirement came to you. So in that requirement, okay. So what you would be doing according to, so you would be storing the data with that particular department name. So in the real time, we would be creating the info areas with respect to the department name. So all the financial kind of reporting, we would be creating an info area called finance reporting. Okay, and underneath these things, we would be storing the respective finance related BW objects, so that we can easily jump into when the requirement comes. Got the point, Srini?
okay. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
this is the ones on the top are basically it's like a tree, folder tree where you have to go
Yes,
in, and
subtools.
that's where you have the
Yeah.
actual
In
info.
the FI, we have different departments also, right? FI, AR, accounts receivable,
Right.
accounts collecting, general ledger. So what we would bring, we would be creating the subfolders. So how come I create a main folder? So go to the option called info providers, and on top of the info providers, okay, select this button. Okay, no button,
Mm-hmm.
just highlight on this particular icon, click on,
Header.
right click, and click on the option called create info area.
Okay.
So underneath, so this is considered as a financial info area. Underneath these things, you need to create another info area. Then what you have to do, right click on the info area and create info area again. Then you would
Right.
be getting a picture like this. And underneath these things, if you want another, then create another info area. Otherwise, go ahead with the info providers. So here what he has done is the same.
Okay. So you have info area, underneath that you have info providers, and
Yes. Yes.
all the info providers.
This info provider area is the one-time activity.
Right.
Only one time you are defining and storing all of your work. See, the Ramana,
So
he was my earlier student, so he got some information over here, and this is
okay.
currently batch going on. So this is the place where I'm going to store their data, so that I can
Okay.
easily uniquely identify, right? Okay, yes, okay, this belongs to Siva Prasad. So whenever the batch starts, then I would be relating only to these objects.
Right. Right. Okay.
easily.
And then within info providers, there are different types like InfoCube and DSO
Yeah.
and
So
all
we
that,
would be
right?
studying these options one by one on a day-to-day activity. So we'd be
Okay.
exploring the options one by one.
Okay.
So literally from Monday morning classes, we will be starting the practicals. Okay. So first of all, we will be going with understanding the requirements and
Okay.
starting of how to develop the same in SAP BW and how to do the reporting. So
Okay.
once we are done with one development or one flow, then you can consider that yes. Then the same is applicable to how many objects you want to develop. The same flow is applicable.
Right. So we need to first
It's like creating a table.
get thorough with the methodology, and then we can repeat that.
Yes, yes. Same the case with the creating of a table. So if you are able to create one table correctly with the same correct syntax, the primary key, and the respective data types and the lengths, then the same is applicable to all the other tables also, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but few things would be changing according to your requirement. So the few things we can learn through your experience. So same is the case of
Okay.
SAP BW also. First, we would be getting practice with one flow. In SAP BW terminology, we are using a word called flows, data flows, which means how we are reading the data, from where we are reading data, and where we are storing data in SAP BW. So that is considered as a flow.
Okay.
Okay, so we would be getting one by one interacting with the class once we start the practical sessions.
Okay.
So, any doubts, Srini, till this point of time?
No, I think this was good. This was everything today was very new to me. I never ever heard of these things before.
Okay, okay.
So it was very good.
Now
The
today,
previous classes I was reading a little bit. I also read some before, so I had some information. But today, all this info cube, info objects, info provider, everything is new to me.
yeah, very new, and at the same time, so from today, assume that we have started the BW classes. So
Yeah, yeah.
this terminology is totally now specific to the BW system.
BW, right?
So
Okay.
now all the
Um,
till yesterday class, those are the common terminology we were discussing with SAP or data
okay.
warehousing. But
Now,
yes,
this question about the versions again. Where do we see BI 7.3? I mean,
so go to log on pad,
like how do I know it's BI 7.3?
BI 7.3.
Yeah.
Okay,
Isn't
same system menu, Srini. System status menu.
Oh, okay, okay.
Go to objects.
Because they all refer BI, BW interchangeably, right? It's the same thing, but then BW has a different version.
Okay, go to system. Go to status. Okay,
Okay.
and here you would be getting the information like SAP NetWeaver 2004s, and click on this particular symbol.
Component information.
Component
Okay.
information. Here you would be getting the information like SAP NetWeaver BI 7.0. So
Okay.
currently this system is like we are working on a system called BI 7.0, and the latest
Okay.
version available with is 7.3.
Okay. So usually they refer it as 7x, right? 7x means anything
Starting
7 or
with
above.
7, yes. So earlier there was a
Okay.
3.5 system. So people used to refer to it as 3.x, 3x.
But that was BW, right? That used to be BW 3.5.
Yes, yes. So don't confuse any with this naming terminology. So BW 3.5, BI 7.0, again BW 7.3, all are same. But the only
All
difference
are
is
same. So
some extra options according to the new releases. Microsoft, you can simple example, Microsoft Office.
yeah, you explained to me that, but why? The question was I was reading, I was going through some job requirements like that, and then the descriptions are referring to like, okay, BI 7.3, BW 3.5. So that's where I get confused about.
Okay, the only thing is they want to be specific working with the system.
Okay,
They're asking you the specific kind of requirements like you should be familiar with the BW 3.5 objects. You should be familiar with the BAI 7.0 objects, 7.3 objects.
okay,
Okay, so if you are working with the latest version or 7.3 or 7.0, okay, there is not much difference between the 7.0 and 7.3 systems. The only difference
okay,
is
okay,
they have introduced the HANA as the backend database, and they have established a good connection with the okay, with the SAP BO and the SAP BODS systems, and enhancement of few other info providers.
Okay.
So very, very minor changes. We can compare to that as a 5% of improvement to the existing SAP BI 7.0 system. So if you're done with learning SAP BI 7.0 system, then you can assume the things very easily, no problem with respect to 7.3.
Okay. One general question, if somebody asked me, like, why is SAP so great?
Why is SAP so
You know,
great?
Yeah, why is SAP the best in the ERP, right? What are
One line
the three
answers.
words?
One line answer.
Integration, right?
Very tight integration between all of the modules of the organization, all of the
Okay, so
areas.
that is the key, integration.
That is the highlight point of the SAP.
Okay, and then some other ones?
Some other ones, there will be a lot of other things also, Srini, in terms of help, SAP would be always ready to you, and it is a globally accepted software. And the other beautiful option is most of the things are predefined by the SAP.
Yeah, I think that is what I read actually. I read some article today, and then it says
Okay, if you go
it has
about
very raw.
SAP system, then with respect to finance department, SAP has a lot of predefined tables according to the business
Right.
standards.
So it's
So
basically inbuilt functionality, right?
inbuilt functionality, very good. Yes, yes, Srini.
Okay.
Okay.
Robust inbuilt functionality. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So
And then
once you implement SAP in your organization, you can start working immediately, which means the SAP has defined uh, these tables and the structures in such a way that it uh, it it has actually done a lot of background work with respect to the
right.
manufacturing industries. What kind of terminology are they using? What kind of data are they storing in the respective tables? So doing a lot of background work, they have inserted all those things in their SAP ECC system.
Okay. And what is the business process redesign?
Business process redesign in the sense. So normally I told you, right. So earlier they would be like you would be implementing some. You are storing your data in some other system, not into SAP ECC. Then there comes a situation, so the format of the tables or the way you are storing it is totally different, but you need to understand the terminology of the SAP. If you are planning to implement SAP, you need to store the same data from the legacy system into the SAP system. So in that particular point of time, what you need to do is you need to redesign everything according to the terminology of the SAP BW,
Okay.
according to the understandability of the BW. So for example, you would be using some naming conventions, but here you should definitely follow the SAP naming conventions. It's not that, okay, I would be using the same table name over here and the same table name into the SAP ECC. No. So in this case, so these things are discussed in the implementation projects.
Okay.
So how to migrate the legacy systems into the SAP ECC system, how to migrate the data, how to migrate the structures. So
Okay. Because that was listed as one of the advantages of SAP over other systems.
okay. But the
Because
most important advantage is tight integration and it's a predefined content. The main advantage
right.
of SAP BW is also the same, Srini, because there are
Okay.
from the same SAP products, okay, SAP BW and SAP ECC, they have defined, we have a lot of built-in functionality already available.
Okay.
The only thing is go install them, use them, install and use them. By default,
Okay.
so whenever we are working with any of the object, what we are doing, we are activating it, right?
Yeah.
So same. So we have two types of versions with respect to SAP defined things. So already they are in the delivered version, D version.
Okay.
The only thing is you need to whatever the things you want to use in your reporting, just go and activate them. That's it. activate them and use
Okay.
it. So that is the advantage. And there's a good, the implementation time will also be very less, right? Because all things are ready-madely available for you.
Okay.
So the implementation cost is very less compared to other tools. And it is
Okay.
very good compatible with SAP ECC system.
So that is under, like it says, seamless integration and data flow between objects, between various departments.
Yes, really.
Okay.
So these are advantages working with SAP. And day by day, it would be coming with the new versions with enhancement features like this,
Okay.
according to the business functionality. Any other doubts, Srini?
No, that's all, Vinay. I think I'm good.
Okay.
One suggestion, Vinay, when during the class, right?